What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Saints Row 5 and this franchise moving forward, even based upon looking at the past and the present of Saints Row and what we can expect going forward. And I wanted to talk in this segment of the show about Saints Row 5. We've talked about it, like I said, guys, here on the channel. You guys can check out all of that content. But I want to talk about everything that we know so far about this title, and I want to get your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below so we can have a real conversation about it. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article written by Bryson Lewis of Screen Rant, although there hasn't been much revealed yet about the next iteration in the open world crime franchise, Saints Row 5 is definitely in development. And so obviously, guys, this is the most important thing to take away from this is that Saints Row 5 is in development currently, which I'm very excited about, guys. I've wanted to see a continuation of this franchise. I've always felt that this was a unique franchise in a number of ways, but it always was one that kind of was, I guess you could say, taking more of a, instead of the serious approach that is maybe like Grand Theft Auto or one of those titles, it's got a lot more over-the-top elements to it, which makes it very unique, and that's why I love Saints Row, and I've been hoping that they continued it at some point or another. It has been a busy year for Volition with the release of Saints Row the Third Remastered and Saints Row 4 Re-Elected, and things are not looking to be slowing down anytime soon. Despite the remaster and Switch port, fans have not seen anything new from the Saints Row series since Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, released in 2015. Fans may not have to wait much longer, though, as information about the newest Saints Row game is expected to be revealed sometime this year, according to Saints Row's official Twitter account. As players wait in anticipation for the information, here's everything that we know. The newest Saints Row game has been in development for a while, with Saints Row themselves confirming the game's existence on their official Twitter account in August of 2019. The account also revealed that the game has been in development since the release of Agents of Mayhem, another Volition project. Agents of Mayhem released on August 15, 2017, which means the new Saints Row game has been in development for 3 years now. So if we go based on, guys, it's been in development for 3 years. We will probably be hearing, more information about this title at some point this year, which being 2020, or we'll be hearing more about it in 2021. My guess would be is that if we hear about it this, late this year or into 2021, it probably is going to come out late 2021 or early 2022. While there have been rumors and leaks of the newest Saints Row game being a sequel to Saints Row the Third, the senior PR manager of Deep Silver, Saints Row's publisher, debunked these rumors on Twitter, saying, "Sorry to be that guy, but this info is not correct. I definitely can't wait to share what's next for Saints, but this isn't it." When asked on when any official info will be revealed, Ryan, who often goes by AQR, simply stated, "We have no information to share at this time." While AQR is keeping his lips sealed, Saints Row's Twitter may be giving some hints as to what Saints Row 5 will be like. So let's talk about that, guys. Let's talk about what the gameplay may very well be like. While nothing is confirmed yet, if there's anything we can expect from Saints Row 5, it's a large open world. The Saints Row series has been open world since the very beginning, so it would make sense for Saints Row 5 to continue that trend, especially with the technology and power of the next-gen consoles. Speaking of which, it may not be out of the realm of probability to expect Saints Row 5 to be available on the PS5 and Xbox Series X, as well as the PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. So I agree. Now, as far as the open world's concerned, guys, my biggest hope here, when we talk about the open world setting in Saints Row, I really want there to be a lot of things to do outside of the main story and even side missions. I just want there to be a lot of ways we can connect and interact with this world, traverse the world in a number of different ways. I want this to be the, being able, I would like this to be a Saints Row title where we're able to traverse this world more than we were ever able to do in the other games. I think that could be something really awesome. I would honestly, what would be interesting, even though I believe that they will go with the large open world, but I would almost wonder if Volition would think about kind of changing Saints Row in a way where it's more of a linear experience to see what that's about, so they could focus more of their energy and such on the multiplayer aspects of the game. But nonetheless, I'm hoping that we still get that large open world, because I think that's what makes Saints Row Saints Row. As far as the release date goes, guys, no release date has been confirmed yet, but THQ Nordic, owner of Saints Row's publisher Deep Silver, did say in 2019 that they expect to launch a minimum of 2 AAA games before March of 2021. With information about Saints Row 5 expected to come sometime this year, it could be possible that Saints Row 5 hits the market as soon as early 2021. I don't see that happening, guys, because we're already, pretty late into 2020. I would say if we're going to get a Saints Row 5, it's going to be probably late 2021, maybe even into 2022. It really also depends on how far into development they are. Sure, if they've been working on it for 3 years, they're probably pretty far into development, but the fact of the matter is we haven't even seen anything yet for this title, so that kind of gives me some hesitation. Early 2021 would be awesome, but I almost would feel we have to see a reveal trailer and things of that nature, because we'd be able to see like how far along this game is, and we could raise, concerns could be raised if it's doesn't look like it's like finished or even close to being finished. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on it. I'll definitely keep you guys all up to speed as more information comes out on that. Now, as far as the story is concerned, no information regarding Saints Row 5's story has been revealed yet, but if Saints Row's Twitter is any indication of what's to come, Saints Row 5 could be a sequel of Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. This would make sense as Saints Row Gat Out of Hell serves as the sequel and epilogue to Saints Row 4. Saints Row Gat Out of Hell is the only real sequel in the Saints Row franchise, and Saints Row 4 is the game where the franchise really began to stand out and become more than just a GTA clone. Now, here's my thought on this, guys. Since it's been a number of years since we got a Saints Row title, I would personally like to see Saints Row 5 be more of a soft reboot. I would not like it to be a sequel to Gat Out of Hell, because a lot of people didn't even play Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. That was one of those titles that a lot of people had a lot of mixed reaction to. Lots of people liked it, lots of people did not like it, and it didn't really do incredibly well from my understanding as far as sales are concerned. So at the end of the day, I would rather Saints Row 5 be more of a soft reboot than anything to kind of lead us into the next generation of Saints Row titles. That would just be my personal opinion. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. But either way, guys, the biggest news here, and really just, to kind of keep all of you, excited, for those of you who are excited about this, that Saints Row 5 is in development. And that's a huge deal, guys. Whether it's called Saints Row 5 or it's called something else, is yet to be seen. But the fact of the matter is that we're getting our next iteration of this franchise, and that's very exciting. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it. What do you guys want to see in the comment section down below? Let me know. What are the things you want to see in Saints Row 5? I mean, there's a lot of things I would love to see return from the older Saints Row games. There's things I would certainly like to be changed and things to be somewhat different. But I would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Saints Row 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I absolutely love Bioshock, guys. I think that this is one of the most creative titles and series ever created, in my opinion, when it comes to just the video game medium. I just have really felt that this title, and there's so much to this franchise that I just want to continue uncovering. And so what I wanted to go ahead and do, guys, is talk about everything that we know so far about Bioshock 4 so that we can kind of talk about it and we can give our thoughts, and I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. And an article, guys, written by Lauren Morton of PC Gamer. 2K created a new studio to develop Bioshock 4, so brace yourself for a shakeup. After a year or so of rumors, 2K has finally come out to acknowledge that Bioshock 4 is in development. It's been 6 years since the last Bioshock game, double the time between each of the other 3 games in the series. After at least one internal cancellation and reboot, Bioshock 4 is properly on its way now. So the first thing that we really got to take, just kind of a breath of fresh air, that Bioshock 4 is in development. It's in development, guys. It's happening, and that's so exciting. Now, hopefully it doesn't get canceled. Hopefully we don't get another reboot or something of that nature, but nonetheless, it is coming. We don't know many concrete details about the next Bioshock game just yet. It was only in December 2019 that 2K announced the name of the studio working on the game. The press release didn't give any details on the game itself, so we're mostly down to speculation and waiting. Now, what's the release date for Bioshock 4? Unfortunately, it's way too early to be talking release dates. The formation of the new 2K studio developing Bioshock 4 was just announced. And although we can hope it's entered full production already, we don't actually know what stage the game is in. So if you were to ask me, guys, as far as when we could probably expect this title to come out, my thought process is this. Because of the pandemic and everything else going on in our world, the uncertainties there, I'm sure Bioshock 4 has been delayed slightly. However, I would say that even though if the pandemic had never happened, I do believe that we would have got an announcement, even though more of like an announcement trailer this year in 2020. But I would say that we're going to get that now in 2021, and I think the game will probably come out in 2022. But that's literally just me and my personal thought process on it, because I do believe that it's probably been in development for quite some time now, and I'm sure they're going to want to show the world something to really confirm whether it's called Bioshock 4 or something else. Now, although rumors about the next Bioshock game had been circulating for about a year prior, we finally got confirmation of its existence when 2K publisher announced the formation of the new studio, Cloud Chamber. 2K describes the new studio led by Kelly Gilmore as a collective of storytellers eager to push the front lines of interactive entertainment by making unique, entertaining, and thoughtful experiences that engage the world. Now, one of the big questions people have asked is, will Bioshock 4 still be a shooter? Well, the answer to that, guys, is definitely. When announcing that Bioshock 4 is in the works, 2K said it can't wait to see where the new studio Cloud Chamber takes its powerful narrative and iconic first-person shooter gameplay in the future. So they did say that unless something changes in a massive way, we're going to be getting another first-person shooter. Bioshock may be in new hands, which does inevitably mean some change, but it sounds like Cloud Chamber will be marching along with a focus on what made the previous games popular. Now, I've stated this before, guys, on my YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of my Bioshock 4 content. But one of the big things that I've talked about that has been very concerning to myself, and I know some of you out there as well, is the fact that Ken Levine, the one, the studio director, guys, who used to work on Bioshock in these games and basically brought these all to life, he and his team are no longer part of it. It's Cloud Chamber, a completely new, company. This reminds me slightly of what happened with the Halo franchise, where, we had Bungie that worked on Halo up to a certain point, and then those, everything kind of changed, and Bungie moved away and kind of started working on their own projects, and then 343 Industries came into the fray. They created, of course, Halo 5 Guardians, which was met with a lot of unhappy fans. I wouldn't be surprised, guys. I do believe it's going to take a couple of titles, in my opinion, for Cloud Chamber to kind of get it right. I think that they're going to play this title, Bioshock 4, more safe than anything. They're going to want to keep it as close to, not take too many risks. That's just my opinion, because I don't think that they're going to want to try anything too crazy that's going to kind of throw the fan base, kind of throw us off, too much. I think they're going to stay true to, the origins of what Bioshock was built on. So how long has the game been in development? Well, according to a Kotaku report, this isn't the first iteration of Bioshock 4. Apparently, it was originally in development at Certain Affinity under the codename Parkside in 2015. That version of Bioshock 4 was canceled sometime in 2016. The current version of Bioshock 4 has been in development, Kotaku says, since 2017. So, if it's been 2017, guys, it's going on 4 years now that this has been in development. And part of me also, this was another thing that kind of concerned me a little bit about this title, is has it been in some form of development hell? Have there been a lot of, creative differences between the studio and the publishers? Have there just been a lot of issues that have arisen? Obviously, it's gone through a cancellation, when it was the codename Parkside in 2015. So, and then that was, of course, canceled in 2016. I mean, we don't know how long in development they were with that, but it does kind of raise some concerns. Do we know anything about Bioshock 4's story? Bioshock Infinite's final DLC, Burial at Sea, wrapped up some loose ends, which makes it a bit hard to speculate on what the next game will be like. It seems unlikely that Bioshock 4 will be a direct sequel to Infinite. We'd speculate that Bioshock 4 might distance itself from Infinite a bit by exploring new characters and new locations. Now, I'm going to give you guys my thought on this. I think that they actually will stick with probably either... I mean, you could argue they'll kind of stay within the realm of Bioshock Infinite, only because they want to stay somewhat close to what the origins of Bioshock is all about. They're not going to want, they want to stay like in Columbia, as far as the setting's concerned. They're not going to want to drift too far off of that. I mean, I think it would be great for them to take a real leap of faith here. Part of me, though, wonders that they should kind of get their footing in this universe first before they move on to other things. But given the infinite lighthouses leading to alternate worlds and infinite sea of doors, perhaps we'll end up visiting another reality entirely. Oh, and Cloud Chamber's website has a lighthouse centered pretty prominently near the top of the page, which reads like a clue to us, there's always a lighthouse, etc. Well, I just think, guys, that, they're definitely going to be exploring the lighthouses, which I think is a great thing. I think what Ken Levine built there with the team for the other with Bioshock, Infinite, I would love to see them either... I would love to see that, that next step. You go from Columbia to another world, or from Rapture to another world, or however they want to do it. This could be something really special, but at the same time, I don't want them to try too much here, because that's where they're going to start losing the fan base, I believe, personally, unless they have a great script and such, because we already know that they might have been in development hell, and there may have been creative differences, and Ken Levine and those guys are no longer there. This is a brand new studio. Stay grounded. That's just what I think, guys. Can the old job postings tell us anything about Bioshock 4? Occasionally, there are juicy details to be gleaned from a company's public job postings. Now that its existence has been revealed, Cloud Chamber is hiring up at its San Francisco and Montreal locations. There are quite a few positions available. They seem to be all pretty standard job postings, so it doesn't seem there's much to be learned here just yet. Cloud Chamber is looking for producers, engineers, level designers, environment artists, combat designers, and a bunch of other jobs that you commonly see for any large game. What we can tell is that Cloud Chamber is definitely staffing up. If Bioshock 4 isn't already turning in full production mode, it certainly will be sooner rather than later. Back when the project codename Parkside was in the hands of Certain Affinity, a Kotaku report quoted someone involved as saying, "The issue is that Parkside's not ready for lots of people." So when we hear more about Bioshock 4, given how tight-lipped 2K and Cloud Chamber have been so far, it could be a while before we hear more about the next Bioshock. We didn't hear any mention of Bioshock 4 during the various digital showcases of 2020, so we may be in for a wait until 2021 for an announcement. And I agree with that. I think, guys, like I was saying, because of the pandemic, we're probably not going to hear anything until 2021 about Bioshock 4. And then I would say, 2022 or somewhere in that range is when we'll probably expect to be able to play the game, depending on how far along they are with the title. But all I can say, guys, is I'm very excited about this title. I am skeptical, but I am cautiously optimistic about it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, though, in the comment section down below. I'll be making more Bioshock 4 content, so if you guys enjoy it, definitely stay here with the YouTube channel. But let me know, like I said, once again, guys, what do you guys want to see in Bioshock 4? Let me know in that comment section. And for more Bioshock 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I've had the question asked quite a bit as to Prototype and this franchise, guys. Will we see a continuation of it? Will we see an announcement soon? And I've made Prototype content on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that, from the past, the present, and what the future of Prototype could be, that being Prototype 3. Now, I've stated this before, guys, that Prototype is one of those titles that I absolutely loved. It kind of reminds me of Infamous. PlayStation, and made Infamous, and that was, a very interesting concept as well. And Prototype and Infamous came out around the same time, I believe. And I do remember, though, liking Prototype a lot more than Infamous. I just thought that Prototype was so versatile as far as your arsenal and the things that you could do with your abilities and such as Alex Mercer. And not to take anything away from Infamous, because I thought Infamous was really good as well, but I really want to see a continuation of those types of games once again. Obviously we got like the Avengers. We've got in games where there's, you're able to have abilities and things of that nature, but nothing quite like Prototype or even Infamous. And so the question here is, will we see an announcement soon for Prototype 3? This would be obviously the next, iteration of the Prototype franchise. This could solidify the trilogy of Prototype. We have not seen a continuation of this franchise for quite some time, guys. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, we're talking when we talk about the release date of Prototype 2, it was back April 24th of 2012 is when it came out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So that's quite a while ago. And I mean, it's going to be coming up on, a decade that this game was released. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about, could there be an announcement soon coming here? Because there are rumblings, there's talk, there's a lot of people that are starting, different petitions and things of that nature for Activision to bring back Prototype or to at least sell the IP. So let's talk about that. So Prototype 3, guys, there's a couple of things that have to be kind of talked about. We've talked about this in the past, but the main thing here, guys, I believe, is that Prototype was one of those titles that really did not have, it was kind of almost like one of those titles that wasn't too big to fail. Like, it was almost like one of those up-and-coming, IPs that ended up kind of fizzling out because of one thing or another. And what I would tell you guys is, as we've always stated on the YouTube channel, that there are usually one of two things that can go wrong that kind of dictate whether there will be a sequel or not. One of those being, of course, the sales. When it comes down to it, guys, it's all about money and the sales and such that these video games are making for the publishers, developers, and things of that nature. Number two is the critical reception, or just the response that people give to it, and what that looks like. And so we know from Prototype 1, it was very good. The reception was good, sales were good, and so it warranted a sequel. You get to the second one, and according to, of course, the sales description on the Wikipedia page for Prototype 2, although Prototype 2 was the top seller for April of 2012, beating Kinect, Star Wars, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, its sales were considerably down from the sales of games released in April of 2011. Prototype 2 would continue its strong sales into the month of May, garnering more sales than the highly anticipated Dragon's Dogma, but failing to beat Max Payne 3 and fellow Activision Blizzard game Diablo 3. And then on June 28th, 2012, Activision announced that despite the substantial investment, the game did not find a broad commercial audience, and as a result, developer Radical would encounter layoffs, and the studio would be reduced to a supporting role towards other Activision projects. So there you have it. Prototype 2 got good reception overall. It was kind of like, pretty similar to that of the first Prototype. Prototype 1 did a little bit better, but Prototype 2 did decent, as well. So both Prototype games do good from a reception perspective. The sales, though, is really where we saw changes. And I've stated this a lot, guys. Where Activision, and not necessarily Activision, but Radical Entertainment, where they went wrong, and I don't know if it was all of them or if it was also Activision, where they went wrong was moving on from Alex Mercer. And I've stated that many times, guys. James Heller, I'm not saying that Heller is not a good protagonist, but I did not like him nearly as much as Alex Mercer. There was kind of a mystery to Alex Mercer, whereas Heller was I just didn't think his character, it wasn't the time yet to make the switch from one protagonist to another. I thought that we should have had a whole trilogy of Alex Mercer, at least 2 games of Alex Mercer, before moving on to a new character. I felt that they moved on from Alex Mercer way too quickly, and so I think that was a huge part of why lots of people kind of didn't even want to get Prototype 2. I actually kind of didn't even think about, I thought about not getting the game when it first came out as well. I ultimately did get it, but I thought to myself, I don't really want to get it if it's not going to be Alex Mercer. It's not going to be the same. And when I got it, it was, relatively the same. It was just a different character and such. But I just did not like that they moved on from Alex Mercer so quickly. The second part of it, guys, is that they didn't evolve outside of single player and the single player story. I believe that it needs to be a full package, an IP that's a full package. So single player, multiplayer, and co-op modes to really get you to come back to the experience after you're done playing it. And since it's only single player, that being Prototype 2, I thought that a lot of people just didn't even want to get it because all it is single player experience, no Alex Mercer, there's no multiplayer, there's no co-op. So why am I going to, pay the $60 price tag for that when I could for other games? So, and I think the competition for Prototype 2, what it was going up against, Max Payne and against, Call of Duty and all these different titles, it's just one of those things. I think that it was kind of fighting an uphill battle, so to speak. So where does that leave us? Well, will Activision sell the IP? They could. I don't know I'm sure there are other developers out there that would be very much so excited to purchase that IP. Will Activision do it, though, at the end of the day? And the answer is, I just don't know, guys. They might, but they might have already put it out there on the market, like, hey, we're trying to sell this, Prototype IP and no one's biting at it. Could Activision decide to do it again and go, for a Prototype reboot or soft reboot? I think it's possible, but it's really, in reality, guys, I think it's unlikely. An announcement coming soon for Prototype, I would be absolutely ecstatic if we got a Prototype 3 or like a Prototype, soft reboot or something. I would be ecstatic. I do think, though, knowing Activision, I believe the way in which they would kind of see if there's still an audience for Prototype would be by doing like a remaster, or they would do something like a package deal or something of that nature when the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 come out, to see if people are still enticed by Prototype. And then they could, say, all right, we sold a good amount of copies of Prototype 1 and Prototype 2 as a bundle in a remastered format. Now let's greenlight Prototype 3. That could happen, but with knowing Activision, the substantial investment that they made on Prototype 2, it's hard to say that they're going to make a substantial investment once again for Prototype 3. Now, maybe they don't have to do that. Maybe what they do is, instead of putting such a substantial investment into the single-player story, you kind of spread that investment along between single-player, multiplayer, and co-op. That could very well work. But at the end of the day, guys, it's not looking so good. I'm really hoping to see a continuation. I'll definitely keep you guys all up to speed as more information comes out about Prototype 3. But at this very moment in time, it's hard to say whether or not we will ever see another Prototype title, at least under Activision. Maybe they'll sell the IP, but we don't usually see that a lot happen where publishers will just sell IPs. We don't see it a lot. We usually see like the publishers will buy out, different development studios which hold IPs. So that's a whole nother thing. But it's hard to say, guys. I would love to see it, but right now it doesn't look like there's really any clear indication that we're going to be getting an announcement soon. Let me know, though, what would you guys want to see in Prototype 3 should it ever come out? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Prototype 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. The Lord of the Rings franchise is just having continuations, and, whether it's from a new series coming out from Amazon, or if we talk about a new game coming out from the Lord of the Rings, that being Gollum. And guys, I want to talk about everything we know so far about Gollum, this title, and what it could mean for the overarching franchise of the Lord of the Rings in video game format. So let's talk about it. So, guys, in an article written by Joe Skrebels of IGN, The Lord of the Rings Gollum will mix Prince of Persia-like stealth action featuring a branching narrative and expand on the hints given by J.R.R. Tolkien about the store formerly known as Smeagol to create a brand new Lord of the Rings story that aims to fit alongside the books. So, we have a trailer that came out, guys, and I gotta say, it's very interesting and intriguing to me that the direction that they've decided to go in is a game based around Golem, and just around the creature and around just this character in this universe. It's very interesting to me, but they're taking the stealth approach here. Golem will be a game broadly spent in two distinct states, either stealthily making your way past the various hulking threats living in Mordor and making narrative choices as the warring personalities of Smeagol and Golem fight for control. The former should be familiar to many. The game mixes stealth with vertical climbing parkour, explains lead game designer Martin Wilkes. If you want a reference, you might think of it as similar to Prince of Persia. It is mostly a non-combat game, but Golem will be able to stealthily take out enemies. However, this will not be easy and always come with big risks. We want players to carefully weigh these encounters. After all, Golem's strengths lie in cunning, not combat. So the narrative, guys, narrative gameplay between those stealth sections, Golem will be forced to make decisions and dialogue choices, choosing from responses proposed by both his gentler Smeagol personality and the Golem psyche that emerged after he was corrupted by the One Ring. So do those decisions mean there's a branching narrative to play through? There is, explains Skaben. Also, the decisions you make affect the way the game feels. You always either play as Smeagol or as Golem as the dominant persona, and that can influence the animation, soundscapes, certain gameplay situations, and in-game dialogue. So, very interesting. I mean, just so interesting that they decided to go in this direction. Not that I don't like Golem. I mean, he's a very, unique character for, of course, the Lord of the Rings in the universe. My thought is that they've done so much already in this universe from a video game perspective, from movie perspective, from, now having a series made from Amazon, that they felt that we need to do something, that's different completely, not a Hobbit, not, a soldier, not, do something very different. And Golem is certainly that, without a doubt. Now, the level design and the structure. Middle-earth is a huge place, and we've seen other games adapted as an open world, but Golem will take a slightly more curated approach. The game is, for the most part, structured in sets of levels and hubs, Wilkes explains. When Golem arrives at a new location, the places where he can go from that hub are limited until he either works his way in, for example, the prisons of the Dark Tower, finds secret passages or information, or manages to scheme his way into otherwise restricted areas. Some levels are completely open in all three dimensions and can be explored freely, while others are more linear, but often with alternative routes where players can, for example, decide if they rather sneak around some guards or take a risky parkour route in heights to pass the next segment. So I like that a lot, actually. I kind of like how there's going to be, it seems like it's going to be like a semi-open world setting, guys. It seems like there's going to be places where you're able to explore a little bit. There's going to be other spots where it's more of a linear approach. One thing I'm excited about, though, is to be able to explore the Dark Tower, explore all these different places in Middle Earth, especially with the series that's going to be, coming out from Amazon. This is going to be a great way, depending on when this game, does finally get released. It's going to be really cool to be able to explore it in a different way, in through the eyes of Golem. I think that's going to be really something that we got to keep an eye on. So, as far as the story, this is a big one, guys. What are we doing all of this stealthing and interwarring for? We knew previously that the game would be set in the relatively unexplored time period before we meet Golem in the Lord of the Rings books, and now we know how this new story begins with Shrayan explaining, we start our story parallel to the first book, when Frodo is still in the Shire and knows nothing about anything. Golem at that time ventures to Mordor, still desperately looking for Bilbo Baggins in the ring. Unfortunately, he gets caught by Sauron's servants, and this is basically where our story begins. Golem's overall goal in the game, adds Wilkes, well, that's a bit more complicated. Obviously, Golem wants to escape his captors and retake the ring and hopefully get his hands on some nice fish along the way. After some time, though, the Smeagol side causes trouble and distractions and opens up new conflicting goals that we cannot talk about yet. We follow Tolkien's story quite strictly and only to take some freedom for purposes of gamification or sometimes simplification, says Shran. Tolkien doesn't describe Gollum's story before he appears in the book in great detail, so mainly we draw from small notes in the appendices and secondhand reports from characters like Gandalf. Since we need to fill in many gaps, it gives us quite a bit of creative freedom to pursue our narrative vision. And I do like that as well. I really like that there is going to be somewhat that freedom for them to kind of do, because it's going to really introduce new things to us. You know, you don't want to just be a copy and paste of the movies, of the books and such, because then it feels like, oh, we're just kind of doing this over again. We already know what happens and such. That's why this is kind of neat. I like this concept. Now, at the same time, we would have never gotten the chance to work on this project if that vision would not be in tune with the source material. Think of it like taking a few verses from the Bible and extending them to a novel without changing the overall narrative. And what of Gollum is himself? As many pointed out after the first screenshots emerged, the character looks like a slightly more wide-eyed take on the version Andy Serkis made famous. As it turns out, that's more or less the point. Fisher explains the goal with the design of their anti-hero. With Gollum himself, our goal is to make him more relatable, as players have to be able to slip into his skin for the course of an entire game. That's why our Gollum looks less creepy and has more hair than the movie version. So, with that, guys, those are the things that we know. We know a good amount, but I think that it's going to be interesting to see as we get closer to the launch, the release date of this, which at this point in time, it's supposed to release in 2021. Who knows if that's going, take that date with a pinch of salt, guys, or that year with a pinch of salt, just because of the pandemic and how that could maybe push things back slightly, depending on how far into development they are. I got to say, though, I am excited about this title. I'm just more intrigued than anything to just see what it's all about. To, give it a try, take the reins as Gollum, a totally, new character that we're able to control from our perspective in video game format. We know this character from the movies, we know him from the books, but now being able to actually play as him within a video game is something very interesting. It's an interesting take that they're doing here. Who knows what it could lead to, and that's what I'm very excited about. But let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, what are you guys excited about here with Gollum? Let me know, and for more Gollum content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of The 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.